On today's news, Brock Lesnar's WWE return plans were changed last minute, WWE might be removing a championship, my review of SmackDown, Tempest's review of Rampage, and more. As people who watched the NXT podcast earlier this week would know, I'm fine. See? Nothing abnormal to see here, I'm just very fine. What's that? What do you mean we need a mustache break? No mustache. WrestleTalk! On last night's SmackDown, Brock Lesnar made his return to WWE following his kayfabe suspension where he paid $1 million for beating up Adam Pearce. This led to him becoming the #1 contender to Roman Reigns' Universal Championship, and the two will be fighting at Day 1 on January 1st. Can't wait for Reigns vs Lesnar 72. But Lesnar's suspension being lifted and him returning on last night's show seemingly wasn't always the plan. A few weeks ago, the Staples Center in Los Angeles, where next week's SmackDown is taking place, advertised that Brock Lesnar had bought a ticket for the show. Clearly, the original plan was that Lesnar would have still been suspended, so the only way he could attend the show would be as a fan. Of course, that changed with last night's show, though he is still slated to appear on next week's show, according to the Wrestling Observer, where they also confirmed the fan ticket purchase storyline was the original plan. Do you reckon he got a front row seat, or was he in the nosebleeds? Over in NXT land, Joe Gacy will be facing Roderick Strong tomorrow night at War Games for the Cruiserweight Championship. However, in segments leading up to the match, Gacy has talked about making the title the all-inclusive championship, even teasing wrestling those of all weight classes and genders. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer mentioned that he's heard they want to ditch the Cruiserweight title. Whether this means Gacy will win and actually make it the all-inclusive championship, or it will be altered in some other way, we'll have to see. Gacy has been one of the more featured talents in NXT 2.0, so it's not unreasonable to think he may win the title off Roddy tomorrow. But this does fly in the face of the reports from earlier this year that claimed NXT wanted to make the Cruiserweight Championship one of the more featured parts of the week-to-week programming. Then, of course, everything changed when the 2.0 attacked. And speaking of change, do you remember earlier this year when Elias had some vignettes where he died, I think? This was of course supposed to lead to a gimmick change, but it never got followed up on. WrestleVote on Twitter has now reported that there was no end plan for Elias's gimmick change, and if that doesn't sum up WWE's booking philosophy, I don't know what does. The vignettes were done simply to kill off the musician character, and his initial rebranding was to look similar to Macho Man Randy Savage, with colourful trunks and beard. But Vince McMahon and the other higher-ups reportedly didn't like it, so it's back to square one for Elias. And now it's time for my review of last night's episode of SmackDown in about 5 minutes. Thank you for being awesome pledge hammers over on our Patreon page, the $100 Man CD Horver and the Kessel Run DX Solo. You can get your own shoutout and loads of extra bonus content by heading over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/WrestleTalk. The show began after a recap of Reigns and the Battle Royal from last week with Brock Lesnar, who said, "I bet you're all wondering how my suspension was lifted," before he was interrupted by Sami Zayn, the #1 contender. Yes, I am wondering, Brock, but something tells me I'm not going to find out. Sami tries to make friends with Brock, saying that after he beats Roman for the Universal Championship at Day 1, he's happy to defend the title against Brock after that. But Lesnar intimidates Sami into challenging for the title tonight instead, so that at Day 1, Lesnar can face whoever wins, which gets made official backstage, thanks Sonya Deville, who didn't have a main event planned for the show when it went on air. Also, isn't that against what you said a few months back, Sonya, where you couldn't make a Universal Championship match without proper promotion? It's almost as if the writers are... what's the word? Bad at writing. That's what they are. Sasha Banks versus Shayna Baszler came next, and it was a fun little match, this one. The two had some big moves to start and went back and forth throughout, ultimately ending with Banks winning with a roll-up after some counters to both of their submissions. This was fun. Didn't really have any story behind it or progress anything, but it was some good wrestling, so I can't complain too much. Adam Pearce backstage is FaceTiming in because he doesn't want to be around Brock Lesnar, and he says he's going to remember the Alamo, which is apparently something about Texan independence. I didn't have to Google that. Drew McIntyre was also there with his big sword and said to tell Adam Pearce he wants to see him. He's gonna kill him. That's what swords do. Then there was a segment of Happy Talk. Jeff Hardy hit a twist of fate on Corbin, Drew McIntyre hit a Claymore on Madcap Moss, and I hit my head on my desk from complete boredom. Xia Li's debuting next week, that's good. The Viking Raiders face Los Lotharios next, and it's a nice little dance move they got now with a theme song, isn't it? After a match that lasted all of about a minute, Lotharios set up for their tag finish, and then they waited, and then they waited, and then they waited, and then Boogs and Nakamura tried to distract him with the guitar, but then Lotharios got the win anyway with a roll-up. Boy, I bet the Raiders are pissed at Nakamura and Boogs, and they went out of the ring and they stared them down. Yay! Characters caring about losses. Oh, wait, no, sorry, they just did their new dance move with them when Boogs started playing the Raiders theme on his guitar. Jey Uso faced King Woods next, and Woods teased a big surprise before the match, to which Pat McAfee squealed, "What's it gonna be, Cole?" And it's Kofi Kingston. This match lasted a couple of minutes, and then Jimmy caused the DQ. Pat McAfee then said, "The Bloodline don't get the win, but I don't think they really care." Yeah, you're right, Pat, they don't care about wins and losses. At day one, it will be New Day versus Usos for the SmackDown Tag Titles, and somehow I don't care about it, despite Woods, Kingston, and both Usos going through loads of character development in the past year. How do you do this, WWE? Charlotte Flair cut a promo in the ring saying she knows that everyone at home thought her pieing Toni Storm was funny. No, it wasn't, Charlotte, it wasn't funny. And as she says this, we get some fucking tittering on commentary because it's just so funny. This show is breaking me. Charlotte says no to Toni's Women's Championship challenge she made earlier in the night, and as she walks away, Toni pies her back. It's so funny! Toni then looked like a dork, marking out over successfully pieing Charlotte, whatever. Sheamus beat Cesaro in a quick match that was superficially fun, but we know these two are capable of a lot more. And then, literally as Sheamus is standing up from the pin where he won, Michael Cole says, "I want to take you back to the start of Friday Night SmackDown." And I know I mention pacing all the time on WWE reviews, and I've tried to keep it to just one line or a quick mention, but this was exceptionally bad. So, right after Sheamus wins, we cut to a recap of the opening promo between Sami and Brock, and the backstage segment where the match was made official. Then Sami comes out for his main event match, and then it cuts to an ad break. We come back, and Naomi has a backstage segment with Sonya Deville, where Sonya accepts a match with her. Then we get a recap of Raw from this week, and then we have another ad break. We come back, and Sami, who's just been standing there this whole time, cuts a promo, and then Brock Lesnar comes out, and then they continue the promo, and then Brock Lesnar beats up Sami Zayn, and then we cut to another ad break, and then Roman Reigns comes out doing his full entrance, because why would you want to capitalize on the guy that's been injured? Then we got a recap of what happened before the break, and then Reigns hits a spear and a guillotine, and he won in 4 seconds, and that was the show. That main event segment was the final 25 minutes of the show, not including ad breaks, and the match lasted like 4 seconds. I promise, when I bring up pacing, I mean the pacing is really bad. This company is so incompetent, I can't handle it. In more positive news, a Support WrestleTalk shirt in the front row. Thanks, that fan. So that was the show. Let me know what you thought in the comments and vote on our community tab where 80% of you voted for I hope everyone enjoyed Sami's main event push, because boy howdy, that's done now, isn't it? This wasn't a good show. Banks vs. Baszler was fun, though ultimately meaningless. A bunch of matches were proper bad, with bad and rushed finishes, poor timing, another f***ing pie, happy talk, and a main event so drawn out it could feature in Pictionary. It's a 2 out of 5 show. And now over to Tempest for his review of Rampage.
Boy, I sure can't wait to show my AEW bias when they put on a great eye for an eye match. What's going on, WrestleTalk friends and fans? Tempest is back with another review of AEW Rampage in about 3 minutes. So this show opened with the TNT Championship match as Sammy Guevara successfully defended the title against Tony Nese. Now this was a weird match for me because on one hand you had a lot of really good action as far as the in-ring work went, but on the other, I wasn't totally blown away by the character work of either guy. There were tons of really spectacular dives in this match, and I'm not going to take away anything from the athletic ability and the in-ring work of these two guys, but Sammy Guevara just hasn't grabbed me as TNT champion yet, and I've personally never been interested in Tony Nese as a character. I was really hoping that this match would be the turning point for both of these guys as far as showing me something different, but I didn't feel like Sammy Guevara came across looking that strong as a champion. He almost gets beat in almost every one of these matches, and coming right after the TNT Championship reign of Miro, it's just really tough. That's also not to say that I think he should have been beating people in 5 minutes like Miro was, but I just find it really hard to get behind him as a really strong champion when he's almost losing the title in every match. It may sound like I'm being really negative about this, but the match itself was very good. I just don't get that emotionally invested in this like I have in other matches in AEW. Sammy, of course, got the win with the Go to Hell. This was a good match and a very good way to open up the show. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. We then got a very quick squash match as Jade Cargill beat Janai Kai in about 20 seconds. There was nothing to this match. Kai, of course, is the student of Thunder Rosa, and they are building up to the Thunder Rosa Jade Cargill match in the TBS Championship Tournament, but I got nothing really to say about this match. It was 2 moves and Jade won with Jaded. There was a brawl afterwards as Jade Cargill fought with Thunder Rosa, and that was good, but there wasn't anything to this segment to make it more than a 2 out of 5. And then we got the main event as FTR took on Pac and Penta El Zero Miedo. Thankfully, this match was given a lot of time. Early on, it seemed like both teams were a little bit of a step off from each other, and that wasn't just because Pac was wearing the eye patch, it just kind of felt like they lost each other in places. But the more the match went on, the more cohesive it felt, and they just kept going and things just kept getting better and better, with Pac eventually getting blinded in his other eye with Malachi Black spraying the black mist. This allowed FTR to pick up the win, and afterwards Malachi Black got in the ring and just jammed his thumb right in Pac's eye like he's trying to collect the Sharingan. I really love how many different characters and acts are all being woven together in this feud, because you've got Cody Rhodes, Andrade, Pac, Malachi Black, the Lucha Brothers, FTR, and there's so many combinations of great matches that you can have with all of those guys. It helps make these matches and these shows feel so fresh. Some early sloppiness aside, I thought this match was really good and an excellent main event to close out this show. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. So overall, it seems like you know what you're going to get with Rampage these days. It seems like you're going to get a good match to open the show, a good match to close the show, maybe a squash match or a longer match in the middle, but it doesn't feel like much on this show really matters in the grand scheme of things. This isn't true 100% of the time, of course, if you get a CM Punk Eddie Kingston promo or something like that thrown in there, but this show very much does feel like the B show at this point, and I was hoping that that wouldn't be the case oh so soon into this show's run. That being said, I love seeing some good wrestling, especially after having to watch SmackDown. I'm still gonna give this show a 4 out of 5. It just kind of does feel a little bit unimportant. And that just about wraps it up for me. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on this week's show and last night's SmackDown, make sure you go over to WrestleTalk podcast later on today, where myself and Chopper Pete will be breaking down the entire show in complete detail. LIW is fine.
If you thought 2020 was crazy for both the world and wrestling, then 2021 was like, hold my beer because, ha ha, the Miz is WWE champion! Go home, WWE, you're drunk. Drunk on profit. Somehow this company has made more money than anything in the universe ever this year, despite making some of the most baffling changes in its history.